There was a vision to bring together Avatar YouTubers from across the world to celebrate the 15th anniversary of Avatar: The Last Airbender in the best way we know how, by pretending that we're the next Avatar and deciding who our elemental masters would be. This is the story of 4 legendary masters. Thank you to Antoine Bandelet for allowing me to be part of this project. You guys know me, I'm Fran of A Healthy Dose of Fran, and these are my 4 legendary masters. Now before I begin, each of these masters that I'm going to be introducing as the ones that I would have for that element represents something that I think is important for the Avatar's journey and for the Avatar's teaching. And that is 4 different things, which are joy, balance, spirit, and passion. Now each of these elements and each of these elemental masters represent each of these. And so I'll be beginning with the first one, which is the first element in the cycle after Korra, Earth, which represents joy. And the person who represents joy overall in the series for me, and is an Earthbender, is Bolin from Legend of Korra. The reason why I've chosen Bolin as my Master of Earth is not only because he is a joyful person, which is something I think needs to be involved with the teaching of the Avatar. As we've seen throughout the majority of the series and from the book Rise of Kyoshi as well, joy is sometimes something that isn't part of the Avatar's life, especially after they become the Avatar. Their life is then designated to this idea of training and protecting the world and being its saviour. There's no time for fun. Of course, with Aang we do see him enjoying himself and having a good time, but that is, in his mind, his way of being able to stay at a distance from being the Avatar. Being the Avatar isn't full of joy, which is why I think it's important to learn joy and understand its importance in the Avatar training cycle, which is why Bolin would be my master, because he is the embodiment of joy. But not only that in terms of what he represents as a teaching, but with him being an Earthbender and also now a Lavabender, there is a lot that he can teach me as an Earthbending master. He is a pro bender. He is completely modernised in his bending techniques, and the way in which he uses his bending is masterful. He uses each earthbending technique and each earthbending movement to work to a specific advantage. He adapts to every different situation and uses his earthbending or lava bending to suit that particular fight or enemy. Like as we see in one of his pro bending matches, he uses a collection of those earth discs to create a barrier to protect himself due to an onslaught of attacks, and then breaks that wall to use as a weapon against his enemies. This is a tactical movement of his that was really smart and intelligent of him to use. He also has something that I think is important for an Avatar to have, and that is perseverance. Bolin, throughout the entire series in Legend of Korra and in the comic books as well, is shown to have extreme levels of perseverance. He doesn't let anything get him down. While there are times where he seems to seemingly give up, he never does. He fights to move forward, to get himself out of these situations. He never stops trying, which is something that I think he even helped influence Korra to do. Korra never gives up. While she has her moments, there are times where she will persevere through action. And I think that's half of Bolin's influence as well, which means he will have that perseverance attitude influence on myself as an Avatar. And then of course just the fact that he has Pabu, he's just generally a fun guy, he can teach me pro bending. I mean, come on, I want to be a pro bender. Like, it's the one sport I think I could probably do. No, I can't, I'm really bad at sport, it's probably not something I can do. But anyway, let's get on to the next master. Next up is fire, and this idea of balance. So for my fire master, I have chosen Rangi from the Rise of Kyoshi. Now, Rangi is possibly someone you wouldn't expect to be a representation of balance, but everything about her character is all about balance. She is this balance between understanding the avatar cycle and its importance and avatar training, as well as that of real life and the realities of politics and war that don't often coincide with the training of the avatar. While political savviness is something that is taught here and there, as we see with Avatar Yun in the Rise of Kyoshi series, it's not something that seems to be particularly taught to an avatar. Korra and Aang have absolutely no idea as to politics as far as we can see, which means that they are often tricked in a sense and manipulated really by the system because they don't understand it. So with Rangi at my side, with her political savviness, her understanding of other nations and their political positions and their army positions, and just kind of them as a nation as a whole, will benefit me as an avatar to understanding the world and the nations as a whole, but also understanding the manipulation that these nations can hold over an avatar, and making sure that that doesn't happen to me. And while Rangi is a brilliant master, as we see with Kyoshi, she teaches Kyoshi airbending techniques because she understands how these nations work, but she also understands the importance of avatar training. Now, she is kind, but she is structured, which I think is something for a huge procrastinator such as myself to have, because her kindness will motivate me to do better and progress. But the structure of her teachings will make sure that I don't stray and get distracted or move too fast or move too slow. There will be a specific regime to improve me as a firebender, but also as an avatar. And also, if Rangi's about, actually no, Kyoshi will be gone if I'm the avatar. That doesn't make sense. Never mind. Maybe I could just ask her for like dating tips. If she's able to date Kyoshi, like, oh, spoilers. My bad. Before I continue to spoil you guys on things to do with the Rise of Kyoshi books, let's move on to my next master of air. Now, air is the representation of spirit, and none so more are spirited as Kai. Now, this may be an interesting choice for people who know the Legend of Korra. While Kai is an interesting character, he's not particularly spiritual, I would say. But spirit in this case doesn't mean spiritual. It means he has spirit. He has something that motivates him. And Kai as a whole is just an interesting airbender. Not only is he modern, but he uses his techniques in interesting ways. Originally he was a thief. He used his airbending to help in his thievery because he could. But over time, as he learned more about the Air Nation and the way of being an air nomad and Jinora, I'm just going to say it because Jinora, and who could blame him? It's Jinora. Kai develops over time and he learns the importance of the Air Nation and their practices, even going out of his way to use his fantastic gliding skills, fighting skills, and the airbending abilities that are usually used for defense as an offense, which even Tenzin was surprised that he was able to do such things, showing his power in airbending. And using all these things to protect Jinora, to protect the baby bison, because you do not mess with that boy's bison. Like, that was scary. But all of this shows his spirit, his way to use airbending to each different situation, similar to Bolin and Rangi's tactical minds. He is able to use these with airbending, which is something that many people wouldn't consider to be tactical, as predominantly airbending is for defense use. But Kai uses it both for defense and offense, which I think will be beneficial to my airbending and my understanding of airbending as an avatar. Although he probably would have to bring Jinora along to help me with the spiritual side of things, because that boy I don't think is going to understand much of the spiritual side. But, you know, we'll see what happens in the comics. Maybe we should get a Kai comic or a Jinora comic. getting off topic. Let's go on to the next master of mine. Now, this one may be a surprise because for my water master, it's sort of a combination of two people who represent this idea of passion, and that is Tui, or Yue as we know her, the spirit of the moon. Now, as we know, Yue was blessed by the spirit of the moon, Tui, when she was a baby, turning her hair silver, and Tui is killed and then resurrected by Yue, who sacrifices her life to become the spirit of the moon. Now, the spirit of the moon is the original waterbender, the creator and the teacher of waterbending skills to waterbenders. So to have Yue/Tui teaching me these abilities and having them as my original teacher, who were the original teachers, is something that I think will be incredibly beneficial, because Tui is different than what they would have been when they were originally teaching humans to waterbend, because now they have this human side to themselves with Yue, as well as the spirit side. So now a human and a spirit are coexisting as one powerful waterbending being, and to have them as my teacher and have that human passion that Yue had. Yue was an incredibly passionate person who was passionate for her people, who was willing to put away her own feelings to protect and reign and be just a great leader for her people, because she had such passion and love for them. And to have that now in the form of the moon goddess, or the moon spirit? Now we're going to call her a goddess because Yue is a goddess. I love her so much. But there's also this idea that, considering Tui is meant to represent the yang in the yin and yang symbol. Now, yang represents many different things, including passion, but it also represents brightness and growth, which I think are things that really embody what the avatar is meant to do and what the avatar as a human is meant to do. They are supposed to grow. They are supposed to be a brightness in the world. So to have these embodiments and these teachings from the original waterbender, from a human spirit, and from a being that is meant to represent this passion and brightness and growth, that an avatar needs to be a better avatar, to be a better human, and to be a better bender. Who better to teach you than the person and spirit who represents all of these things? So that's why Tui/Yue would be my waterbending master. Now, those are my 4 legendary masters, but there's one that I feel needs to be included here, and that is my non-bending master. Now, non-bending is something that not a lot of people would consider to be something to be a master of, but in the case of Suki, who, as everyone knows, is the greatest character of all the time, and I will fight anyone who says that isn't true, is a fantastic non-bender who has used her non-bending ability to her advantage by learning such things as martial arts skills, chi blocking later in the imbalance books, and even fan and sword and shield abilities. She's basically Captain America, I'm just gonna say it. But to have someone teach me how to use my own body as a skill without bending, so if such things as I was chi blocked, for example, I would still have the ability to fight. To be able to use my own body as a skill without bending is something that I think is woefully unappreciated in the Avatar universe, and it's something that I think me as an Avatar would need to have. Having martial arts skills without needing to use bending or a bending force is something that I think is important, because especially if I am dealing with a non-bending threat, I should be using non-bending abilities against it too. In the case of Amon, who obviously we know was a bender, but if I were to use my bending against a non-bender who is trying to prove that benders are oppressive, I would just be proving a point. So to use non-bending abilities to stop this force from overtaking, I'm able to use the same skill and put myself on the same level of that person, making me an equal in a sense to them. So to have an avatar be equal in both bending and non-bending ability, it's something that I think a world of slight equality with an avatar is needed. So that's why I would have Suki as my non-bending master, to teach me such things as chi blocking, as martial arts, as weapons skills, and so many other things, because that girl is freaking amazing. To make sure that I am a well-rounded avatar, both with bending and without. I can't believe it's been 15 years since Avatar: The Last Airbender started. It feels like it's been around forever, but then at the same time it feels so new. And I think that's something about Avatar, the subsequent series, the books and the graphic novels really have an effect on this fandom. It feels fresh and new, and the love for this series is still as strong as ever, as seen with this fantastic 4 Legendary Masters series. And I am still so thrilled and happy to have been a part of this series too. So to Antoine, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this. And to you guys, if you want to be a part of 4 Legendary Masters, you can upload your own 4 Legendary Masters video and add it to the playlist, which is linked down below. But if you don't want to do a video, just let me know in the comments who would be your 4 Legendary Masters. Like I said, the link for the playlist for all the other fantastic YouTubers a part of this series is down below, alongside all the links for my social media, my merchandise store and my Patreon. If you guys want more Avatar content, of course be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell for my channel, but also go check out all the other channels involved in this project. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time.